Transurfers and the Transurfing Curious. I am Renee Garcia, and this is my Express Reality Transurfing lesson of the day. Today I'm going to be talking about a concept that really changed my life once I learned about it. This concept allowed me to step out of a way of thinking that had become dull over time and wasn't too hospitable, right? I, as most people in this world have experienced, had a childhood where things seemed alive and colorful, and opportunities seemed bountiful, and there was magic around me, right? I was in a discovery mode, and the little things seemed to provide me with a lot of pleasure. And as I grew up, as we all do, that childlike worldview started to fade away, and my mind shifted over from this perspective of fun and magic and discovery to scarcity and what I need to do and what I should do and who I should be. And it's really this switch that occurs that takes our focus off of living life in its purest, most beautiful, most magical sense, and transurfing presents to us this opportunity to go back to that place, right? So Vadim Zeland in the book talks about this thoroughly. I am, of course, referring to the book Forward to the Past and the chapter Forward to the Past, where Vadim Zeland actually presents to us that we can travel back in time to our past, to a place where things were just more fun and just easier. So once you put transurfing into practice, all the magic of being young will start to present itself to you again. It will come back, but this time it will be better, because now as an adult you have the power and the ability to make some of these dreams actually come to fruition, right? You have the ability to take action in ways that you did not have as a child, right? Under your parents' care or whoever was taking care of you. And it's that combination of a childlike spirit with the power of being an adult that can actually, now be joined together in creating a reality that is not only one that provides for you, but one that's fun and is more in line with what your heart wants, right? But first we need to talk a little bit about exactly what happens in this shift, right? The generational shift. So when you're a child and you're existing on a lifeline, you're existing on a life track that you haven't had a lot of interference from pendulums yet, right? You're super happy. You notice a lot of things in your reality that seem magical, right? It's like you're outside playing and the sun's shining, and a snowy day is magical, and you're focused on nature and opportunity, being outside, having fun, playing, and your perspective is actually just it consists of these things. This is your set and decorations for this life track that you exist on, or most of us existed on as children, right? So then what happens is, as we get older, right, and we start to grow up, let's say, maybe around your teenage years, you start noticing things that you don't have, right? Maybe you notice that some kids in school have more money than you, have better clothes, right? You get rejected by somebody romantically when you're younger. You start feeling pressure to perform in school. You draw this book here, you start thinking about your future, right? And your perspective starts to switch over from these magical parts of being a child to, expectations that your environment is putting on you, or you are putting on yourself, right? So your perspective goes to these things, and this colorful, vibrant way of living actually starts to fade, right? You no longer participate with your environment in the same way. You don't focus on, nature and playing outside and doing the things that you love to do, right? What your heart's telling you is pleasurable for you. So your focus starts to go away from these things, and you start focusing on these other things. And before you know it, you're an adult, right? And things aren't going well. So how did you go from this to there? Well, really what happened is your worldview completely shifted, right? And you most likely, as did I, became obsessed with the game, right? Obsessed with making money, finding the right partner, gaining status in my reality, pleasing people, and my mind became focused on these things to an extent that it completely drowned out the voice of my heart, right? Which is ultimately, where you exist as a child. You're living from your heart. So what Transurfing's presenting now is that you can actually return to this place and still be an adult, right? But you have to lift. You have to start taking off the layers that have been settling on you since you were a child, and that's exactly what I did. And I feel great. I look younger. I have more energy, and I really just live my life like a child now. I know that sounds crazy, but it is a reality for me now. I play. I am in constant discovery mode. I really look to my world as a place of opportunity and not a place of scarcity anymore. But there are a few steps to get, obviously, from this place back to this place. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. The first thing that happens is, in getting to this place, is that we start expecting things of our world, right? We start placing expectations on our world. And remember, if you listened to my talk yesterday on importance, excess potential, and balancing forces, it's when you do that your world actually stops participating with you in a positive manner, and actually creates an imbalance energetically where you have a lot more difficulty getting the things that you want. So the first step really is to drop importance. And if you don't know about that concept, go back and look at my video and I will explain it. The second thing is that you really got to start trusting in your world, right? My world is taking care of me. Know that it holds nothing but the best for you. You have to switch back over to that mindset when you were a child and you did not presume or expect that the world had anything, any sort of bad intentions for you, right? You thought of the world as a safe place, a good place, a place of plenty and fun, and it was all open to you. It was only, as you start going through the years that you stop trusting in your world. So developing a good relationship with your environment, with your world, and trust that your world is going to take care of you. That will really start to shift from my world's not taking care of me and it's placed some pretty harsh expectations on me, to there's a lot out there and my world is going to present to me some of that stuff. So another thing is to open your eyes and start, looking for daily magic, right? Recognize when your world is extending to you something beautiful, something good, something fun, something that you want, right? Outer intention, your world, your desires, what you intend to have will ultimately flow right up to you if you let it, but you have to be open to this happening, and you have to have your eyes open. You have to be able to see it when it happens. Listening to your soul. So heart and mind coordination. When you were like this, you had pure heart and mind coordination, right? Your heart said yes, your mind said yes, and everything was a go. It felt good. It was only until your mind started to get involved and drowned out the voice of your soul or your heart that you really began to suffer. Obtain freedom when you stop the battle. Okay, this is another very crucial statement, and Vadim actually says this a lot in the book Forward to the Past. It's the battle that's putting you into a place of non-freedom, right? It's when you stop battling that you can actually gain freedom, and that's ultimately what we felt when we were children, is we felt free. We felt free to participate with our world in a positive manner, in a place that benefited us, right? We felt that we could do anything, we could be anything. I know that when I was a kid, I dreamed of being an astronaut, right? And that feeling felt really, really good. It was only until, I started growing up a little bit and people would say to me, teachers or adults would say, oh, well, you got to go to a lot of school to be an astronaut, or NASA only accepts a few people. And, then all of a sudden I started to doubt that my world would actually provide me that opportunity. But look at me now. I mean, I may not be an astronaut, but I'm a transurfer, and I'm surfing the space of variation. So in a way, I actually did make that dream come true in my own way as an adult, and I feel like a kid, right? I feel like I actually am an astronaut. So I will tell you all a brief story quickly about moving back home, right, and how this is a very, very good example of Forward to the Past. So when I grew up here, I did not have the best childhood. It was tumultuous and dysfunctional, and I didn't really like where I was from. Later in life, I started to realize the benefits of maybe moving back home after being gone for nearly 20 years. And in a way, I had traveled back to my past, right? I live back in my hometown, but I'm on a much different track. So I got to travel back in a way where a lot of times I feel like a kid. Like I can go to the park with my nieces and I can play and feel like young Renee back at the park when I was a kid. But now, my track is much better. I have more control over my reality, and I have the ability to to understand this perspective and to really just to reach out and feel like all of those things that I had as a child, the positive aspects of my childhood, are there for me again, right? Things seem more vivid, right? Things seem more colorful. I appreciate the small things in life. I'm not here anymore, right? I'm not even here. I'm here. I'm back feeling like a kid again, yet I have control over my reality and control over my track. So this is really something that needs to be felt to understand. But once you gain an understanding of going back to a previous track and taking the things from that track that were positive and feeling those beautiful, vivid, magical aspects of that track and pulling them onto your current track, you can start accumulating just as much material and information that supports this mindset when you were a kid, and you can forward to your past and live a beautiful life in a beautiful reality and get away from this, right? So So I hope you all enjoyed my talk. Follow me on Instagram, reality_transurfing, and subscribe here. And don't forget our Facebook group, International Transurfing Institute. Bye, guys.